Danfo offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, fam. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor, hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Yeah, shout out to everyone on this Saturday evening here in Atlanta. There was one college football game on today. It was the Army Navy game, but I don't watch that. But the real Holyfield college football starts next Saturday with the playoffs. And then also too, next Saturday we head to Sierra Leone. Excuse me. Next Saturday we head to Sierra Leone. So looking forward to that. I haven't been to Sierra Leone since November of 2024. So looking forward to that. We're gonna have a great time in Sierra Leone. If you're last minute, like if you just got to get away, you just want to get away. If you want to roll to Sierra Leone, let me know. Again, if you want to roll to Sierra Leone, let me know. What else we got going? Here? We're going to Cape Town. Just got back about 3 weeks ago from Nigeria. Actually, we did Namibia and South Africa. Then from South Africa, I personally went to Nigeria and had a great time in Nigeria. Now back in the States, obviously in Atlanta. But we're going to Sierra Leone on Saturday. Then we're heading to Cape Town in March for the Cape Town International Jazz Festival. So looking forward to that. Going to have a great time in Cape Town. And then where else are we going? Then after that, we are headed to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Again, Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. And that is May 9th through the 18th. Cape Town is March 25th through April 2nd. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in joining us, again, please visit Danfo.Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO.Africa to learn more. We'll love to have you all and for you all to join. And guys, when you visit the site, make sure you fill out the information box that comes up. So sign up for all notifications. So yeah, visit Danfo.Africa. Also, Divination Inc. is going to be launching soon. That's coming soon, and So a lot coming down the pipeline. Got to continue to grow this thing. Got to continue to grow this thing. So visit Danfo.Africa, DANFO Africa to learn more. And that's Darius, right there on the main screen right there. Shout out to Darius. Uh, you know, for the support. This was Darius's third trip rolling to South, rolling with me to Africa. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just checking one thing real quick over on here. Yeah, this was let me send it over here. Yeah, this was Darius's third trip rolling with us, guys. I just gotta send this message out to somebody real quick, and then we'll be good to go. Bam, there we go. Okay, I'm here, y'all. Sorry about that. Yeah, so shout out to everybody in the chat room. Who's this with the wrench? WMW-FAB. Who is you with the wrench with the administrative privileges? I'm good, Wildflower. How you doing? So let's jump into today's topic. How did Akata become the rallying call for FBA? And like Alan said in the chat room, it's the way it was used in the movie Sugar Hill. And I'm going to play the movie. It was a mistranslation of it. Akata does not mean cotton picker. And I just find it interesting how they have took this mistranslation and just ran with it. Like they literally took this translation and just ran with it. And we've seen this before. If you guys are into Isheshe, our traditional Yoruba spirituality, if I butcher his name, I apologize. I mess up his name. I'm sorry. Samuel Crowther, Ajayi Crowther, said that Eshu was the devil when there is no devil in Yoruba or in Ifa religion. Well, it's not a religion, but in the spiritual system, there's no concept of devil. But they mistranslate Eshu is the devil, and people ran with it. So now you have a situation where you have Black people, Black Americans, who mistranslate Akata as cotton picker and have ran with it. It was crazy. I could tell you right now that they've never been caught that. And this all stems from a movie, a fictional movie. Where at the end, which is very interesting, Wesley Snipes and his brother, and I'll play the clip here in a second, who were in that movie, Sugar Hill, who were called Akatas. They ended up blowing each other away. So I'm gonna spoil the movie. I haven't saw Sugar Hill. So Wesley Snipes and his brother at the end of the movie get into a fight. Both FBA. They get into a fight, and one of the brothers die, and Wesley Snipes ends up paralyzed from their fight. And it kind of sums up this movement. They rally around the most pettiest things, but the amount of infighting in the community is what, at the end of the day, shuts them down and gets in the way. It's the roadblock, the infighting. But I want to pull up. We're gonna pull up this clip just in case you guys haven't seen it. This video might get demonetized, so you guys need to super chat because it might get demonetized. Um, but we need to watch this clip. Here we go.
Those are the Nigerians I was telling diplomatic pouches, man. They rocking the Bronx with that shit. Is that right?
So Wesley Snipes is a dope dealer. His brother, they're both dope dealers. And they end up fighting at the end. And the one on the right, I forgot his name. He ends up dying, and Wesley Snipes ends up paralyzed. It's a real sad ending. In fact, Sugar Hill is a very good movie. Sugar Hill is a very good movie. I know when it comes to Wesley Snipes when he's portraying a dope boy or a drug dealer, he's known for New Jack City. But Sugar Hill is a very good movie. But like I said, they get into the Nigerians over the word Akata, but they end up turning on each other. Bag, you know what? I was saying this earlier today when I was rewatching this clip. You can make that argument. New Jack City got all the hype, but Sugar Hill was a very good movie. And if you said Sugar Hill is better than New Jack City, I wouldn't argue with you. I would have to I need to watch Sugar Hill again because it's been years since I watched it. But I need to watch the movie again. But it was I remember it being a very good movie, actually. But like I said, the issues with Black America, with FBA, really with all groups, is internal. It's internal. Like you could point to the immigrant groups, you could point to that group, you could point to the white man, but it's really internal. We need to clean house first before we start really pointing fingers. So that's where it comes from. Mistranslation, a movie, and people have just took this word and ran with it. So yeah, but I'll and like I said, it's crazy how people have been able to leverage this and weaponize it and use it as a rallying call. All because the Nigerian dope boys wouldn't do business with the Black American dope boys. This is where this stems. I mean, you guys, we got to break this down. This all originates from people who are selling dope in our communities. And one group said, I'm not going to do business with you, Akata. One group of drug dealers said they're not going to do business with the other group of drug dealers. And this word Akata is the center of all the beef. Because dope boys in a movie wouldn't do business with each other. You can't make this up. And this is now the rallying call because nobody knew what that word meant. Before Sugar Hill, no one knew what that was. Before Sugar Hill, no Black American FBA ADOS knew what a kata was until Sugar Hill from this scene. Prove me wrong. All right, go ahead, Abdul.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
You got an echo.
Yeah, I'm seeing you twice. I don't know which video I should click on or stop. I don't know.
Go ahead, Abdul. Go ahead, Wildflower.
Hi everyone. Hi, Dennis. It's been a long time. Hope you're well.
All is
Um,
well.
yeah, so I'm thinking they're just looking for an excuse to like really have some kind of like beef with continental Africans. Um, I just because considering that a lot of African immigrants, when they come to the USA, they say that they're getting code names such as, you know, booty scratcher. They suffer a lot of colorism. They've complained about that, especially some of our people in South Sudan when they go to America. And those are kind of legit things that need to be sorted out. But when they come up with, oh, they call us Akata, and they don't wanna hang with us. It's just you're not been welcoming. Um, and considering this whole word comes from a film, which I think a lot of people don't know what it actually even means. I mean, I don't speak Yoruba, but I don't think it means cotton picker, like you said, Dynasty. I don't think it does. Um, and just to have that as one of the things that they do cling on, if you do listen to them in their group live chats and all of that, it's something that always comes up. And I really hope that people that are from the west part of Africa can also just clarify like the actual meaning, because they've given it a meaning which is not actually what it means, the word, the etymology and everything else. But that's my 2 cent in. That someone else can add something on.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah. I was listening to somebody recently who described the word as meaning basically someone who's a foreigner or not from here, and that's basically the extent of it. But now it's been taken and given a whole life of its own to be like a pejorative term to divide Black people from continental Africans. Um, I even hear people like Tariq Nasheed out here and some of his followers pushing this idea that Jamaicans call them Akatas. And I'm saying it's not even a West Indian word. I don't know where they get that from. It's just all foolishness. But it shows one thing that Black people in America don't know much about Africa. Don't know much about its history. Even in the clip that you showed, he was in there talking about National Geographic, so he was being just as insulting about them as he was claiming that he was offended by them being to him. Um, so I think people need to really do their research, find out what these words mean, and stop listening to people like Tariq Nasheed and all the FBA crowd when they try to push this word as something that people are out here saying. Because I'm willing to bet that there's fewer people out here talking about Akatas than have been talking about African booty scratchers. I'm certain.
Go ahead, Elvis. Elvis.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
And hello to the panel in the chat. Look, I think the word, at least to the people who use it, it seems appropriate because I think it means somebody who's lost touch with their culture, or with their people. And nowadays, when African Americans say they're not Africans, or FBA in particular, they're not Africans, they have nothing to do with Africa, they've lost touch completely with the continent, which, to their credit, or I don't want to say to their credit, but it's not their fault that they've lost contact or connection with the continent and its people. So when a Yoruba, I think the word is Yoruba, say that this person is a Akata, this person who has strayed away from his culture, his Africanness, doesn't know himself in a way. It's insulting, yes, but deep down it's true because of the transatlantic slave trade hundreds of years of being disconnected. There's semblance of the culture within African American modern culture, but many people don't even know what that connection is with Africa. They can't tie it back that this came from Africa, that came from Africa. And this is something we've developed over time here organically. So the word it sounds insulting, but when you look at the etymology of it and you look at the root and why they're using it, most African or most FBAs will actually, agree with it because they'll say, well, we've been out of Africa for so long, we're disconnected from there. We form our own culture here, and we're a new people. We're disconnected from the culture of the Africans and the kingdoms that we came from. So don't look at it as an insult. Just look at it, even though it's in another language, so you think they're talking bad about you. But words have meaning, and that word basically mean that you're disconnected. You've lost your culture and you lost your connection with your people, and I think it's appropriate. That's my take.
All right, Ting Basi, go ahead. I mean, Tinga BC, go ahead.
Yeah, greetings to everybody.
Hey,
Uh, yeah, I mean, bro, we talking about a group of people that willingly go around calling themselves the N word. Like we literally call each other the N word. Well, I don't do it, but most people do. So I mean, if FBA, they want to be offended. Like they looking for a reason for contention. It's very our behavior towards each other is way worse than anything any foreigner does. So to me, it's just useless outrage. They want to be contentious with somebody, and it's baseless in my opinion. So somebody else could speak though.
guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, just click on the link in the chat room. Go ahead, Mika. Mika.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm from Zambia. I'm not Yoruba, but at least what I know is that the term Akata, I think, was used for Nigerian Americans, like those first and second generation kids that grew up in the U.S. and were not very well versed in Nigerian culture. So I think like the Nigerians um from the continent would refer to them as Akata, which is supposed to be someone who's foreign or just not well versed in like African ways. Because I know even in Zambia we have concepts of that. We don't really have a word for it. But usually, if you're a Zambian and you've lived overseas for a long time and you go back home, people will kind of see you like you're a foreigner. So yeah. So for those of us who are in the diaspora, when you go back home, we do get sort of seen as you're a little bit different or something like that. I think that the FBA movement took that and tried to really, I feel like they've always wanted to have some type of beef with Africans for a long time. I don't know why, but I kind of been seeing these trends for a few years now where they would always be like poking the bear, always very condescending towards Africans and towards anything that goes on our continent, feeling like they have to critique everything, being very loud and aggressive. And I think that they finally got the response that they wanted. So I wish Africans could be a bit more proactive in understanding the broader context of we're going through these geopolitical situations. So I feel like it's a huge distraction. So all this time wasting about Black Americans, African Americans, are they African? Are they? I think it's a waste of time. We never cared about those things. We didn't create those terms, African American. So I think even engaging in it is just like a setback to the real issues on the continent, which is fighting imperialism in France. Yeah. And then also, lastly, I feel like they try to deflect on the fact that a lot of Africans, when they came to America the first time, had a lot of negative experiences being called African booty scratchers, being stereotypes, derogatory terms, and all that. And when you bring it up, the Black Americans will always say that, oh, it's just a joke, it's our culture, we just roast, this is who we are. But then they like to highlight any African that says something negative about Black America becomes a huge, huge issue. So how about you give the same grace that maybe you're just being roasted at that time instead of trying to scale it over and make it sound like some African problem. If you come up on Somalis who say they're not Black or other groups that might have similar views as the FBA mindset. So that's just what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with stereotypes, it's not that they're wrong.
Well,
They
I
just
agree with
think
everything that you said, except for the last part about the Somalis who don't claim to be Black. I don't have time for conveniently Black people. If you're Arab, then look forward to the Arab diaspora to help you. Now that Trump's on you, I
Yeah, I
can't.
mean, I understand that, but you have to look at it the same way. If you're when you go to Pan African spaces, who do you see? You see FBAs. So fine, you've delineated and all that, but it's convenient for you to be in Pan African spaces, to be in African spaces. Don't you think that's annoying to us as Africans when all we see is you people just be so derogatory like 24/7, and then you come back to our African spaces or our Pan African spaces? That's the same concept as Somalis saying they're black when it suits them. That's exactly the same thing.
I would push back on that. While I see your point about the annoyance of many FBAs, pushing some of this nonsense, I think it's a whole different level when you're telling people loudly and proudly that you're not black, and then when you get in trouble with the president, now you want black people to come in because you're Arab. The Arabs you claim you were, the Arabs are not going to support you.
I don't. Somalians don't claim they Arab though. I don't.
Except they do.
I've seen many
They
Somalis
claim
walking around
to
like
be
that.
from the
I even
tribe
saw
of.
one
Nah,
Somali claim that he
they
was
say they're Cushitic. They don't claim to be Arabs.
They
Like,
said some
yeah,
of them say
most of
they're
them
from
are
the tribe
Muslims,
of
but
Quraysh, which is the tribe of the Prophet
I've
Muhammad.
but
actually
nah,
seen a
yeah, you
few.
can't, bro. You cannot make that. Like, that's what I'm saying. That generalization is cool, but like
Do you interact with Somalis often?
yeah,
Where you live at?
Hello.
Chicago. But I got family in Minneapolis. There's a lot of them over
Okay,
there.
I live in Minnesota here, so Somalis are here, and they really don't consider
Well,
themselves African.
I'm going to be
I
honest. I
didn't.
don't
No,
think that.
I didn't say that they don't. Cause I know that what you're accurate when they say they don't. Most of them don't consider themselves black, which I don't like making these general sweeping statements. But they don't consider themselves Arab though. Like that's
Um,
they
They
say they're
find more.
Cushitic.
They have more of an affinity for the
Right,
Arabs than they do
but
for the
but
They
black.
then they'll
do
brag
culture.
about being in the
They do
Arab
culturally,
League.
yeah. But they don't
Then
consider
they'll brag
themselves
about being in the
Arabs.
Arab League. There's
yeah,
something about those Africans on around the Horn of Africa.
Horn of Africa. E-
They
Ethiopians,
have
Eritreans,
issues.
and Somalians.
No, but I mean, if you look at them, their culture is now. I understand where they're coming from. I agree with you that they don't like. If you need to pick a side, I agree with that. But if you're talking about culturally, they have more. I would say more in common and really historical interaction. Like if you look at him, y'all people have been going from Yemen, going over from Oman, going from the Red Sea, going back and forth from Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, from a long thousand years. So I mean, they do have cultural connections to that area, but I wouldn't say that they consider themselves Arabs though. And now you might have some that do because of Islam, but
I would say this: my interaction with Somalis, they identify more closer to Arabs than they do Africans.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
culturally that's the case though.
they have a term for Black Africans called, I think it's Jera.
Yeah, Jaria.
Yeah, Jera.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So there you go.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
and
that's true.
Somalis have been convert to
Yeah.
Islam.
So again, I'm not
I mean,
overgeneralizing
Alan,
when I say
why
that.
every time I
That's
talk, you
actually
try
a
to talk over
fact.
me, bro?
And now that many of them are
Are you guys
in
hearing me,
trouble,
or
just like
am I
the
not being heard?
Indians here in America,
He must have a delay.
do
No,
I?
it's like every time I open my mouth, you just
Well,
jump off and
we
stuff.
got. Let me pass my mic to Aeon Jack. Go ahead, unmute yourself. Aeon Jack, unmute yourself.
All right. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Hey, Diness, I want to tell you from my heart personally, I'm very thankful that you started this journey. I started watching you in 2018 when I was living in Thailand. And everything you've done such far, you've been preaching the truth and doing the right thing, bro. I remember when I first arrived in Thailand, I met a lot of my Nigerian brothers and stuff like that. And they would speak Yoruba or they would speak Igbo to me. And I was like, bro, I only speak English. I don't even know what y'all talking about. And then after time, it took me, to get educated on my ancestry and then also, figuring out why they would talk to me because I descend from Nigeria, or not even before Nigeria, pre-Nigeria. We all come from West Africa. And I think many of our people have not really taken the time to educate themselves on West Africa, the territory, the people, the different tribes. Like I said, many of us are mixed between Yoruba and Igbo and a couple of other different groups from the region who survived to get here to American soil. And so, us being born as African Americans, there's much confusion about our heritage, where we come from, what people we belong to, and so on and so forth. But we have to understand that we're a survival. We only exist because of the slave trade. Otherwise, we would still be in West Africa. And when you come from slavery, or you come from that kind of a heritage, you just have to understand so many things will be lost. It's very lucky that we have what we have. It was not by design for us to have a culture, for us to even exist to this day. It's something that only through pure survival that we have this. And so we need to, leave all this ignorance behind and go ahead and grasp the things that we can grab from our culture, from our heritage, and from our ancestors who survived truly a horrible and horrendous thing called the slave trade. It's a lot of ignorance that we need to dispel and leave away, because truly we're some of the most powerful people, and we've survived some of the most heinous things time and time again. And I land my plane there. Dynas, thank you so much for all that you do, brother. I really, really, really appreciate and I recognize what you do.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, but I'll be hearing this sentiment of what we lost. It's too much information that's readily available right now for people to be like saying that we lost thing, bro. You can easily hop on a plane. You could easily talk to people. Like it's like there's no excuse not to be familiar with the culture that we came from. People need to do their due diligence. Majority of people in African Americans, I would say, on an anecdotal perspective, in my experience, I'm not going to say that this goes for anything outside of my experience. Majority of African Americans on average don't have a a desire to be connected with the continent culturally. They have an affinity for the degenerate American culture, and I'm not saying the Black American culture. I'm saying American culture in general, with all the hedonism and materialism, and they don't really have no desire to get back into their quote unquote roots. So the excuse of what we lost is not no excuse no more. It's too much information that's out here, and you can easily go hop on a plane. So
Yeah, but people have been taught that Africans can't develop anything, they can't build anything. They've been told it's an inferior culture. And then sometimes they look at the culture or they look at the people and the development on the continent and compare that with the West. And yeah, Africa is behind. We haven't developed, to the level that we should be, where African Americans would want to be proud to associate themselves with, African culture. So if you're in their position, you'll feel some type of way too.
no, I am in their position, and I don't feel that type of way because I know the history. No, when you put things into context, you see how stuff got like it is. But the thing is, bro, majority of people are just docile. They want to be tied to the quote unquote winning side, and I have no respect for people like that. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm one of those people that's a quote unquote African American, and I don't share those sentiments at all.
I agree with the gentleman that just spoke. I think a lot of the time it's just there's no interest there to know about the continent. So it's easier to just say, they calling us names. Da, 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 they're definitely bad people. When it's like you don't have a genuine interest. I think Dynasty is one of the people on the internet generally that's really bridging the gap. He's actually interested in Africa. I can tell you have a genuine love for the continent, not just a superficial love like the people the people that go just for the December fun, but you take the smooth with the rough and you just take the continent the way it is, and it's genuine to see that. But a lot of other people on the other end, the ones I identify as FBA, because I can't say all African Americans feel that way, but there is this new group that has more vitriol towards the continent because they feel like, we're the more embarrassing side of their identity. They're like, I've got Native American, I've got European, and we had an ethnic genesis and all of these. And when you find out they're like 90% African, and it's
I
the
mean,
side that, the biggest side of them is the side they really don't want nothing to do with. And yes, there is no excuse. You can get the information. You can go on the plane. You can, the world has become a lot smaller. And I think now people in the diaspora, they don't really have an excuse not to want to connect with the continent. And the thing about us, we haven't developed as other continents, but it's because we've been stopped from developing. If people get to read the book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, you can't really blame us. We've been held down. We don't volunteer to be left behind. So that's another thing. And I know that, it is nice to be on a winning team. The West is winning and America is the number one, is the leader of capitalism. So yeah, I understand, it's comfortable being part of the team that's winning. And African Americans have contributed to building America. And I think maybe if they try to come and play a role in developing the continent, maybe they might feel more like, okay, I want to know the culture, the language. And I feel like people haven't really given our continent a chance. And when we do meet in the States and there is this sort of like, oh, them,
do
why
you
they're
ever
here,
do you ever put
you know?
yourself do you ever put yourself in the shoes of an African American? Understand their plight and the way they see the world. Have we as Africans, we haven't been separated from our continent for 400 years. We know our
Mm-hmm,
culture. We know our ethnic groups. We know some of the things that goes on in our group. We have
mm-hmm,
quote unquote an identity that we can identify with. So
mm-hmm,
when it comes to looking back, we say, "Oh, yeah, that's my culture. That's my people.
mm-hmm,
This is what we believe in." So if an
mm-hmm,
African American who's lost all of that based on intermixing with different ethnic groups and they've lost
mm-hmm.
any kind of association with the continent, you have to be empathetic and give them grace to understand that, well, if I was in this
Absolutely.
situation, would I feel anger? Would I feel a disconnect? Most likely you would too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Elvis, I don't disagree with you. I actually see it from the other side as well. Like, it's like a child that gets adopted, and then you're like, where's my birth family? They have almost been adopted by the West, and the culture is very Western, and that is not uh, anything that they've done wrong. It's just the situation. But I think we all have to meet each other where we are. In Africa, yes, we kept our languages, culture, spirituality, but we've been imposed these other different religions, capitalism. We've also gone through trauma ourselves. I guess we both of us have gone through traumas that will take years to heal. Colonialism was not a walk in the park. A lot of our people died trying to free themselves. And you could see the reminders of colonialism all over Africa. So even us, we have trauma. And obviously they have trauma. They have separation trauma. They took them away from home. They've had to get used to living with this adopted evil family that's mistreated them. They've had to create a new culture, a new way of living. And I absolutely understand. But I think we have to meet each other where we are. And the past has been hard on both of us. And we have to give each other grace. And yes, I understand that when some African immigrants go to America, they tend to be more like wanting to move closer to the Europeans who are running the nation most of the time. And they be like, I don't want to deal with, people that look like us and, that kind of thing. I don't agree with that because again, it's creating more separation. And, you don't understand what our people have had to endure for 400 years living in a very hostile environment and having to survive that and thrive. So I feel like both of us, we have a lot of work. We both have been traumatized. Slavery and colonialism is serious trauma and it lives through the body. So it just manifests in different way. Being snappy and petty with each other is just another manifestation of trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, Alan, you
Go
back up.
go ahead,
Yeah.
Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis. Or whoever. Alan.
No, Alan is back up. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry for the delay. I didn't know what was going on there, but I think what the last person was saying is correct. I think it's trauma, but also I think there's a big lot of misinformation And I think this whole premise of this show shows the type of misinformation that we've been fed. We know so little about Africa that a movie can influence us to see people a different way, and even though it's a clear misinterpretation. I think that's really a key thing for us to understand. I literally had never heard the word Akata before. I watched the movie, which was a very good movie. I really enjoyed Sugar Hill, but I never heard the word or seen it anywhere. And all of a sudden, you feel offended, and it's almost like it was designed to make you feel in that way and to separate us. And we need to be more careful about that.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick, we got to pay some bills. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.
Okay, we're back. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right, can you hear me, Dynasty?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Good greetings from Kenya this early morning, man. I want to make real quick I guess comments about what people were saying. I guess I kind of most like overall in agreement. Um, People try to find a negative aspect and try to hang on that and try to draw divisiveness. Doesn't seem to really make a lot of sense, man. But I've been seeing it more and more. People saying like, the same phrase you just used. They call us Akata, just like that. Like it's like copy and paste and stuff. And I'm like, where does that come from, and who is they? You know. And then the more here y'all actually come here and discuss it, it's like a word that's mentioned within like one specific tribe in West Africa, and was featured in a movie from I think like the 1980s. It's crazy. And people are still referring to this today, like, what I mean, like it's a real living, breathing thing. I highly doubt anybody has ever been actually called that themselves. Maybe they have. I highly doubt it, but who knows? But I think that it's people that kind of hang on to that is people who don't really have, um, I don't know, I don't like they don't have really nothing to offer anyway, but they try to look for a divisiveness, and they try to look at somebody that they can like punch down on, people that look like them, but they can punch down on because they're foreigners or whatever, you know. And yeah, it's true. The majority of us really don't have like a lot of uh, a feel to like try to reconnect with Africa, but I think that that is changing, and the people who actually have common sense and stuff like Flex was saying earlier can look into what's going on online. The world's a lot smaller as it got a lot bigger, and you can actually learn things yourself instead of just kind of people who are kind of too ignorant to find out the truth themselves. Um, this is my third visit here this year, And every time that I've came, people have always been very welcoming to me. Even when the United States, when I tell them, when they see my pictures and stuff on Instagram, whatever, Facebook, oh, that's so nice, man. You're so welcome. You should go to this spot. You should go to that spot. All I hear is positive things. So that's my real life interactions that I have with people. They go out of their way to help me in most cases, all the way from Cameroon to Tanzania to Kenya to everywhere. Our cultures is different. Yeah, it could be Americans, but um, it's up to us to try to enrich it, especially like I always say this whenever I can. We're getting ready to enter a global economy where if you really want to be ahead of the curve, you have to start thinking globally. And people are still not on that. There's a lot of development things going on the continent that can help people who are the Black Renaissance in America um, to make that next step before they get left behind. Because that's what's really happening. People are kind of like, uh, you know, stagnant, not knowing what the next move and stuff to make is. I think that's what the next move is. But people who don't get it by now, man, I think they're never going to get it. To be honest, um, Africa is a serious way that we can enrich our culture as African Americans for the upcoming generations if they keep an eye on what's going on the continent, man. So I'll say all that to say I appreciate what you're doing, man, and yeah, keep up the good work, man. I'll just leave it at that.
I appreciate it. Teddy on politics. Once you get your connection together, you're up next. But guys, hit the like button. If you have not hit that like button, hit the like button. And also don't be so stingy with the super chats. Don't be stingy. All right, go ahead, Teddy on politics. Teddy,
Okay, can you hear me?
we hear you.
Yeah, I had to turn off the play. Yeah, okay, I had to turn off the playback. Yeah, like the one brother just said, it's a lot of things going on in the continent, and it's more to me, from my perspective, there's a more sense of Pan Africanism going on on the continent there is in America. The it seems that the FBA people are, separating themselves from the rest of the black folks in the world, and it is more black folks in the world than there are FBA people. So they're separating themselves, like the Pan Africanists are not trying to separate themselves from ourselves, because I'm one of them. Separate ourselves from FBA people. FBA trying to separate from everybody else. So there's, like he was saying, there's Africa is the future. Africa is the future. So I don't understand why black folks in America, is the one that are aligned with FBA, wouldn't want to be part of that. That's your people. That's your people. So that's what I wanted to say. Just kind of follow up on, piggyback on what he was saying.
All right, guys. Links in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. Links in the chat room. If you disagree, call in. I'm reading the chats, and some of you guys are disagreeing, but you're not calling in. Let me bring Mika. Go ahead, Mika.
Um, yeah, so I was just gonna add on to the lady that was talking about how people need to learn about Africa, but I think the reverse is also true. Like Africans living in America need to do more due diligence learning about America and Black American culture. So I agree with the FBAs on as far as I agree with them that Black America has its own distinct culture and identity. I don't understand why they project that on Africans, because it's not Africans that say that Black Americans don't have their own distinct culture and identity. I actually disagree with the whole going back to African traditions, going back to African religion and all that. I think that you have a distinct culture. Like me being a Christian, I think some of the gospel culture that Black America has produced is like one of the best in the world. So those are things to celebrate that I can appreciate as an African. So I don't really agree with that narrative of yeah, like it all has to be Black Americans just connecting with African culture. I think even the reverse can be true. There's a lot we could learn from Black America. Yeah, I guess that's just what I want to say.
Could I ask you something, ma'am?
Mika?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mika. I can't. The screen is really small on my phone. I'm sorry, but yeah, Mika. Have you ever heard any discourse where one group was speaking negative on the other, either Africans or Black Americans?
I mean, predominantly, like, look, me personally, um, I didn't study in the US. I've been in the US for like 2 years. I came for Bible school. But when I was in Zambia back then, I would hear like other Zambians who've studied in the US when they come back saying that they were being called African booty scratcher. They were being asked if they have lions in their backyard, if, I don't know, they came swimming, like kind of like crazy questions. And what happens is that when you're experiencing all these sort of rhetoric wherever you go, at college, at school, you know, at work and so on, it starts to inform your worldview about the people you're interacting with. So yes, I did receive negative reports about how Black Americans were interacting with Africans in America. But on the other side, when Black Americans come to Africa, most of the time, as Africans, we're generally welcoming, whether it's to Black Americans, to Asians, to white people, to whoever. It's just our culture, who we are. And most of the time, you find that Black Americans condescend to that. They look at that as being weak, being passive, being timid. But as Africans, there's a way we are, and we're not going to change for your like rhetoric
No,
or
you're
whatever.
right.
So yeah,
Can I,
You're right.
can
that's who we are.
I see that
I,
myself too. You're right.
can I
Uh-huh.
add something about the fact that God, I even lost my train of thought. That Black Americans, they have this culture that is so different from Africans. I mean, if you travel
I think
to,
it's
oh,
distinct. Yeah, I think it's
it's
distinct.
not. It actually is rooted in Africanness because they didn't create the culture out of thin air. When they were
Yeah, but
taken,
I don't think that's
when they were,
fair though.
when they were taken out of Africa, this is why we all need to study each other. When they were taken away
Which
from
I have.
Africa, and a lot were taken from Congo, a lot were taken from Angola. So not every enslaved person was of West African descent. What they did, they were still African. So when they left and they crossed the ocean, they didn't just become this new group. You don't lose your African identity, your African soul because you've crossed the Atlantic Ocean. It just has to adopt. And when you look at African American dancing, the way they speak, the way the words, the way they move with the way they construct words, all of that is rooted in Africanness. So when you say, they have this distinctive culture. If you go to Brazil, the Black Brazilians who are just almost similar to Black Americans, they were all stolen from Africa. They held on to the African culture. They held on to African spirituality. So Black Americans, they had to hide a lot of the African culture within this Eurocentric way of the environment. So when somebody tells me their culture is so different, no, you just don't know your own culture. And a lot of Africans on the continent, because of Christianity and Islam, we've also lost what our culture is. Having an African food and African name, it does not just make you African or being born on the African continent. Because if you look at African culture, it is rooted in African spirituality. A lot of Africans don't
I
know their
disagree.
culture. Well, I'm African. I'm just telling you what I've observed.
I'm African too.
A lot of Africans, they will
Yeah,
hide
but if I get interject,
Christianity.
real quick, well, yeah, but Mika, you're a born again Christian, so you know.
Oh, Dennis.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
I
I
like to
already
What
comment
they
on.
what they got to do with anything, Dinus?
No, but
wait.
I would like to comment on what she said about our distinct quote unquote culture. I mean, and the gospel stuff. A lot of the stuff that our culture is, bro, is slave culture, and it's nothing constructive in it. It doesn't help us uh
I
formulate
disagree. I
formulate
disagree.
functional. I mean, you can disagree all you want to, but like I said, I've interfaced with it my entire life. I know it's not constructive to get out of the yoke from and obtain autonomy. It keeps you. Our
But
culture in America keeps us docile. We
I think
support
that
it.
but
I
flex,
think
bro.
that's
You
the
can you
same with is what you're saying about her saying that gospel is so great. But how is that liberating Black people by just focusing on spirit, on this kind of religion that is not part of who we are? Saying, oh, we can take on what they use gospel as a way to survive a very hard situation. Now we're not really longer in that hard, hostile situation.
But you
We need
just
to
said you
go
have
back.
trauma though.
Yeah,
Like
of
this,
course they have trauma. Christianity
you're
is trauma
speaking.
to Africans. So is Islam,
That's
and
a projection.
you're trying to hold on to these religions that are nothing to do with us. I can
Well,
tell
how's
you
Benin doing
Christian.
with African traditional religion? Like, how is Haiti and Benin doing with those religions?
I
What do you
mean,
mean?
hold on, hold on.
Haiti,
How
What,
we get off
Haiti.
topic? Hold on now.
spirituality to free themselves. Have you read the
Right.
history of Haiti? Because I know the
Crazy.
Yeah,
history.
but how is that? Well, you can
How
say
is
that
it
about
helping it?
Christianity.
If you know,
Harriet Tubman was a
I can speak
Christian.
to, I can answer your question if you be quiet for a second. The reason
Yeah,
why
you've been
Haiti,
speaking for a few minutes
no,
now. I'm
just
gonna push that.
no, because
Come on, bro.
you asked me a question, you're not allowing me to speak to answer your question. Okay. The reason why Haiti is the way it is because Western powers have
Yeah,
not
here we go.
forgiven Haiti for
Come on.
actually freeing themselves. Do you know how many times they've bombed Haiti? Do you know how many things that's going on in Haiti for you to say, what's African spirituality doing for them? What is Christianity done for Africa apart from
What's
us?
Africa's spirituality doing for Haiti and Benin? Is the same
But
question
what
you're
is
asking me
Africa?
right
But
now.
again,
Tell
So
you
stop
can't
repeating
speak.
yourself.
that Haiti has now become a Christian place.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
And
majority
how
Haiti is not
Catholicism.
Christian.
and
Haiti is
how
It's
not
has that
Christian.
majority
helped
Neither
us?
is
Catholicism.
Benin.
Yes, it
How,
is.
Benin is
because
not
this really
Christian.
is a colonizer religion, so I don't really think you get to the level that I'm at. That's I'm gonna leave
Hold
it
on,
there.
bro.
The question
Hold on.
is African
No.
traditional religion
You're trying to
superior
sound
to
like you're smart, but
Christianity?
you're not smart.
No,
That's
You're
not
No,
trying
fair.
to sound like
but
you're
Hold on.
smart, but
that's
you're not.
it's
no,
like as far as in my
let's
opinion, the
talking about this.
spirituality is it's all a placebo. But again, it orientates you towards your culture. There's no way you can empirically prove any of the stuff really exists. But again, if you're gonna orientate towards something that's quote unquote spiritual or quote unquote religious, it would behoove you to do something that ties you actually to your culture and doesn't tie you to something
Exactly.
else that's outside of
Exactly.
yourself.
Help
So I
pass
Can
it
I
mean,
on to the people.
can I say something now?
as far you were just speaking then like for, and going back and forth with us. So I'm not I'm almost finished. I'm almost about to stop speaking. So in terms of progressing, we see what if you look at when quote unquote African people just all over, from the diaspora or on the continent, look at the progress that has occurred from embracing Christianity and Islam. I mean,
It's
it's
zero. It's
like
zero.
Yeah, you don't join a religion
what positives
to
have they gained?
develop your country with it. It's not going to bring you roads and
No, but
infrastructure.
I'm saying
Christianity is a
what
personal
has the
relationship
culture
with Christ. It has nothing to do
what
with you
has Christian
developing your
culture
country.
It has gone
or Islamic
backwards.
culture added to the
White
continent?
worshipping and Arab worshipping. That's all.
Let me
How has it
let me
substantively
read these,
added to the continent?
yeah, let me read these super chats right now. Elvis Morris, thank you for the $20 hollow for your suya. That wouldn't be possible without the Fulani cows. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the suya donation. Rules VAC, thank you for $10 hollow. Love these conversations. Keep them coming, Diners. Let me pass the mic to, I think it was Harsh Reality. Go ahead, Harsh Reality. Unmute yourself. Then Wharton's next.
Good evening, Dinus. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. I was going to say, because I'm a Yoruba myself, in regards to the Akata word, I think it's these FBA people just want attention. They've been told over and over again what the meaning is, but they want to create their own meanings because they want to be offended, and it's just ridiculous. In fact, I'll just give an example. The rapper you've got there, 21 Savage, if he was to come back to the UK, it'll be the equivalent of him being called an Akata. Okay, he was born in the UK, but he's lived in America. He doesn't act like anyone in the UK anymore. He's just very different. So it's not a terrible thing. It's just we can see that he's different because he's lived somewhere else for so long. That's it. But these FBA people, they want to be offended. They're online every day. They say they want nothing to do with Africans. They want to delineate. Yes, their delineation is making AI videos and pictures talking about Africans all day, every day on live streams, making insulting videos, even making songs like their leader Tariq does. So it's obvious they don't want to delineate. They just want attention. They want to complain. The racism thing didn't work for them anymore. Most of these people are ex-rappers. Their rap careers didn't go anywhere. So all they want to do now is jump on this whole FBA thing. They're happy that Tariq's given them a new identity, an acronym, and they want to push it as much as they can. And the only way they can get attention is by dragging Africans into their nonsense, by insulting them, in hopes that they'll get responses. And that's literally how FBA gets any wings, other than Africans giving them attention and responding. uh, what is it? It's just a load of nonsense. So yeah, this whole Akata thing, they need to just stop it. They've been told what it means, and they need to just get over it and stop pretending it means something that it doesn't. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
All right, let me pass it to go ahead, Wharton.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to come on and just give some information about some plans that me and group are going through. We are building. We are building community centers, and we're trying to find more than at least like 10 acres each. But if we can, like, depending
Yeah,
on what
yeah,
it is.
yeah. We could, Warren, if you could stay on topic, or like, how's this tying to the topic?
Well, about what we are doing, since FBA doesn't do anything, I'm more discussing of plans that we are doing for building.
But
Since
you said you're
nobody's
looking.
been doing anything for
But you
years.
said you're looking for land.
No, I'm saying I already got all that planned out and everything. I'm just saying we're getting land and we're building the community centers, and we're building like front front stores. You know
Where?
how the
Where?
What
Storefronts.
right?
organization did
Yeah,
you say he was
storefronts.
with? I'm sorry.
Where?
We're starting in Ohio
Where in
and we're
Ohio?
branching out.
What's the name of your organization?
Nah, we're calling ourselves the Freeman League. It's starting off right now. Like it's building on. We're building on something, but we're trying to like continue on like the Freeman necessary stuff. Like they have the Freeman bank and stuff like that. We're continuing on that. So we're starting with um, first the Freeman Club, which is they're going to have classrooms, two what did you say his we're gonna have two ceremonial halls. We're gonna have four classrooms, and then the rest will be more designated for offices, and we'll probably have a basement that'll be more like a museum that will have more cultural aspects to it.
How far along are you with that process?
We are at this time only 9 months in, so we're kind of at the beginning, but not really. We found some land that we're building some stuff on. It's going to take some time, of course, but we're not building at this time right now because it's snowing and everything. And
So is this supposed to be like a homestead project or something?
this is like, I wouldn't just say like a homestead, but more building upon culture. Not just building
So
upon culture, but building upon business for
yeah.
us.
So what specific aspects of the culture are you looking to build upon? Like
Morally,
language? I'm trying to understand.
well, language, you know about the Tut language, right?
No, I don't.
That we African, well, I'll say slaves created a language when they were enslaved, but soon as emancipation happened, we just kind of basically said screw it, and it's been pretty much at the wayside. Some of us have been trying to learn more of it, but we're now trying to create a more not simplified version of it, but something identical to where it's be a little bit more hidden now because everybody knows about what it is. But we're trying to change it up a little bit to make little changes here and there.
Well,
But
I ain't what you doing is constructive, and I don't have no problem with none of that. If you finna be a quote unquote FBA, what you doing is what should be happening, and not getting on the internet trying to castigate people that are immigrants to the country, that are people. So
You
I
said he's
mean,
a free man, though. Is that the
everything
same
you
as an
said
FBA?
is nothing but constructive. So anybody
But brother,
that would detest from that is
are the free men aligned with the FBA?
Yeah, FBA do some FBA consider themselves free men.
And then let me ask a
uh,
question for the
well,
free man.
I don't really
How can
say
you
that's
do that on
true.
American soil?
Yeah, I don't really consider that true, Dinus. That's not really true. There's a lot of freemen that don't really consider the FBA thing even the real thing.
So what's the
There's a lot of
difference?
free,
Exist on
there's a
What's the
lot of
difference between the
there's a
two
lot of
groups?
them that they didn't even know about. Literally didn't even know about until I just brought it up. What, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and literally nobody knew what it was. That was the
What's the
group.
difference between a free man and FBA?
We're just continue on what happened when we got out. When we were
Wait, so y'all,
designated freedmen, that's what we're continuing on. We're not branching on and creating like ADOS, or we're literally just continuing since
so
the
y'all are like
Freedmen
the
Bank was
Freedmen's Bureau.
destroyed. You said what?
Y'all are like the modern Freedmen's Bureau.
Pretty much, but we're not calling it a bureau. We're just trying to call it a league right now.
Yeah, no, I
It's
understand.
like a league of us because we're
Yeah, no,
trying
that's
to.
positive. That's good,
Yeah,
brother.
we're
I
trying to.
commend you.
Yeah, there's legal things that we have to do to like keep it going because we're doing it off of that lineage that literally got out of slavery, like right after, and created the Freedmen Bureau and the bank and everything. Because when
Hey, hold on,
we get
one mic. Hold on, one mic. Anna Jack, you got an echo. That's why I muted you.
okay, hear me?
Go ahead, Ward. Go ahead, Ward. Yeah.
Because the main thing that we're trying to do is build upon. Because when we do get say about we want to go national eventually. Right now, we don't have all the funds to do it national, but we're just starting in Ohio right now. It's going to probably take about a year and a half to get everything completely done. But right now, we're just focusing on building up this one like facility pretty much because if you put something on, say, if we get 20 acres and you put that on one thing, all that's considered private property. We can do what we want with that. Then nobody can tell us anything different.
What
So
municipality are you going to be in Ohio? If you don't mind sharing. If you don't, then it's fine.
right now, what was it? It was in Solon.
So
It started, the property we found was in Solon. It's a nice property. I mean, yeah, it's nice property. Some
Have you
trees got
guys
to come
have you
down and
guys
stuff.
purchased have you guys purchased the property?
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Okay, I got a
Yeah.
question for Warden. Warden, is this an organization or is it a group of people that just got together and decided to do what you just described?
No, it's a building organization. So what's
So
the
it's
name of the
nothing
organization again?
formal. There's nothing formal to it.
Yeah,
And
we're not like 10 billionaires getting together. Because I'll tell you, I ain't rich, brother.
So
I'll tell you
who's
that
going to
now.
own the property then once it's built?
No, the organization. Nobody's on it. The organization's on it.
Okay.
I'm the head of the organization, but we go by council.
Okay, are you in alignment with reparations? Are you just
Of course.
what I'm okay, so what I'm getting at, because there was that whole thing with ADOS, and then it kind of morphed into FBA, and now it's another group called Freedmen, as you described it.
Yeah, that's because I'm
okay.
trying to go back to everything when we were serious, when we were actually building stuff, because we needed actual facilities and things to get done. This community center is the first step because it actually brings more people in. That's what we needed, really. We need a building that's a facility, something that we could do traditional ceremonies or like cultural like festivals and stuff that is on our property, and we can actually get more people in, and that's actually just going to boost everything up even more.
Okay.
Because this is a club for our people.
do you have an email?
I do have an email. Give me 1 second. I have
Just put it
two.
in you don't got to say it on land. Just put it in a private chat.
Yeah, no problem. I'll put it in chat. Yeah, but yeah, it's going to take a minute, but this step one.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's good,
commend
man.
you, brother, because that's definitely needed, bro. We need to stop playing. Even over in America, people be talking too much and not doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I
Let's
commend you
have
for that.
conversation and more demonstration. That's a good thing what you're doing.
Yeah, because it's basically.
Can I interject?
Yeah, sure.
Brother, I support what you want to do, but I also believe that we have to kind of learn from history.
That's
Now,
why I'm just telling base. That's why I'm not even showing my face.
right,
My
good,
name's not
as you
Warden
should.
Well, why even announce it, bro? You should build that thing up, have it built, and then
because
come
I mean, it's
and
not
present
illegal
it
what
to the
he's
world.
doing. Like, come on, bro. He's trying
No,
to
yeah.
create businesses, bro. Like,
the
come
main
I feel
on.
thing
like
is
I feel
that
like
Yes,
the
I,
but
back
to be
chat can kind of have
encircled.
the thing is,
this
some people need to know that something is
Yeah.
happening, so we can
that's
know
it.
that
Yeah,
okay, we have some people boots on the ground that's actually building stuff here. Now I can't get more specific because I know there's other people watching that should not be watching, but
What do you
that
mean by
just
that? What do you mean by
we
that?
already know.
People from that municipality who might want to sabotage their buildings.
So
You
not
know,
just that, but we are not in the great administration right now.
right,
And
right.
right now, in the people, I don't trust them, not one bit. That's why I'm trying to move as silently as possible. I'm not moving
That's what I'm
super
saying.
fast.
Doing what
Yeah.
you're doing is not silently at
But
all.
no,
That's
but
what
he
I'm asking.
nothing
No.
he's doing is fundamentally like that's what I'm saying. The the administration we have right now is supposedly is trying to create things like that. So they say. So
right.
what he's doing is picking himself up by the bootstraps as the trope that they like to use. So I mean, them trying to deter him from doing that would be hypocritical, which we know they would do. But again, nothing
Yeah.
he's saying is fundamentally illegal or
No, it's
immoral.
not about the legality of it. Ohio has one of the largest Klan population in the North, right?
Yeah,
And these people
exactly.
hate black people like
Exactly.
nothing else.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
true.
They
That's
That's
might try
true.
to
now.
sabotage him. That's what I'm
Now
saying.
I'm also be saying this. I am not an advocate of being say how you say turn the cheek. I am strapped. I
All
don't play
right.
the games. But I say this, I'm trying to get out the word to know at least some of you, just so you can know that to keep your eyes like keep waiting. Because it's gonna come. It's gonna probably take a year and a half, as well say, because this state is not very weather friendly, but
Yeah,
we're
it's probably going to
trying
be
to
a
do
little
as
longer than
much as we
that,
can.
though.
Huh?
Yeah, you might actually want to. It might take a little bit longer than that, and you might want to consider different areas where it might be better land and you might get better deals and things
We're
like
going
that.
to
But
go in multiple areas. We're going
yeah,
multiple. But
okay,
thing is, this is just like the number, like step one. We will. I do want to branch off in other states, other cities, and I do want to bring up the other chapters. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I get what you're saying, man. I think again, it's commendable. There's other examples that you can probably look at. You probably have been looking at, like the homestead that they were doing, the all white community in Arkansas, as an example.
Yeah, yeah. I thought about that. It's just,
Well,
eh,
it's just something to look at, man. I'm not.
yeah,
If you hear what they're saying, they're actually saying a lot similar things to what you hear from FBA anyway. The
yeah.
ethnogenesis and stuff of the white race, preserving. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's not.
I want to know their ideology. What's the ideology of the freedmen? Because if we start supporting them and they hate the Africans and they want us all out of here, then are we supporting our
No,
our
I'm
historically,
adversaries?
the
actually,
Freeman was just about self determination. Now, if
No, no,
y'all
no.
get off
I
of
want
that,
to
then
hear
I'm
from
not
him.
supporting you.
This is a new
That's
freeman. So,
understandable,
what's your
bro.
ideology?
Yeah,
What is your take on immigrants in Africa? What is your connection to the continent?
no. We want to build up with our. We see them as our basic cousins. Africans are our cousins. Now we're not going to like push them to the side. I don't like talking about other black people. It's not something that I like to do because I heard other people saying what Doctor Professor Smalls, like, I have nothing to say about that. I don't talk about Tariq. Tariq is his own person. I just don't. I don't like talking about black people. Basically,
Yeah, that's a bit of
African
a cop
Americans
out
are
because if wrong is wrong, as a black man, you should speak on it. If somebody is causing a rift between black people, and you look at it and say, I don't want to talk about it, that's almost like you're tacitly agreeing with them. Yeah, the
Nah, that
country
ain't
can't
No,
true,
condemn
brother.
it's
That's
anything.
more
not
like
true. That's not
it's
true.
more like I will personally say that he basically does what he does. I do what I do. We are
Do you
not
have
the
any
same.
criticism for his rhetoric?
I wish he would stop bashing people and just and because he's literally just called his own people tethers and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. That's why I say it's not genuine. None of that is genuine. That's why I say don't do it. I don't talk about Africans. I don't talk about the Caribbeans. They're all my cousins.
All right.
Period. We all went through hell. Let's say that. This planet, black people have went through hell on this planet. Period. I do not want to cause more of the hell that they have already caused us. I am here to build. I'm here to pass the torch. We need to stop arguing because, hey, we don't know how long this planet gonna last. We got things hurling towards us, rocks coming. Hey, we don't know how long we got until something hit us. That's why I say it's either time to build now or like we can't keep on waiting. The waiting game, it just can't. We just can't do that no more.
I get you. Things are
No,
things
I
are
agree
happening
with
though.
you.
Good luck
I
with
say I am not getting no younger, and I feel like my body is giving up.
And I commend you for not speaking on people in public, because that's also a trend that gotta stop, bro. People need to start addressing their grievances in private. So I
Oh
commend you for
man,
that too.
Peter Green just died. God damn it.
Who?
You remember the guy from The Mask, Pulp Fiction actor?
Nah, no.
Yeah,
Nah.
well, he just turned 60. He just died.
Is he a black
I
man
just
or what?
He ain't black, no.
You ready,
well,
Dennis?
He's the
it's a
villain from the
white guy.
mask.
It's a white
All
guy,
right.
but I like his acting.
Why you angry with white man dying?
Because he was in a lot of good movies. He was in The Mask.
You ready, Dennis?
Yeah, go ahead, Willie. Go ahead.
So to the
But I'm
topic,
done.
right? I've never had an African call me a kata, right? Like I've had West Indians call me a beach ass N-word, right? I don't want you to find me, right? But I've had them call me just like Michael Blackson, a beach ass so and so. But I've never had a West African call me a kata. Now, that doesn't speak for the entire continent. I have had Somalis call me Jareer, right? The
Is
issue
that a
with
derogatory thing?
the issue with the Black American is they don't know how to separate a lot of times the Nigerian, the West African, the uh what do I call my brothers not Sudanese, not
Who from
Somali, not Sudan,
Senegal? Senegalese?
Senegalese, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to separate the Somalis from the Senegalese, right? So a lot of times people are holding on to issues that don't apply to the continent as a whole. I have been called Jareer. I can't say I've ever been called a Kata. I would literally say that from my knowledge of where that term comes from in terms of culture, they've called me more American things when it fit than anything from the continent. They call me a beach ass N word, right? They don't call me a Kata. So you got to understand with these FBA arguments, a lot of them are arguing from a perspective of having never actually dealt with Africans. Just to
Okay.
the topic.
I don't get the outrage. We call each other MF. There's no African word that I've ever heard that would be equivalent to somebody calling you a MF. Just the meaning of that word. Like that's extremely
So
disrespectful.
so I get
I
your
mean,
point, right? And for
in
me,
literal
that's
sense,
where
yeah,
that
it is. But
Jareer term comes in, right? I know from what I've observed, this is a term that Somalis will literally use against people from the continent. Their own black people in their own Somali dynamic, right? That has a different, it hits different. The term, what you mean by it, it has a different effect. This whole Akata thing, I can promise you, no FBA has ever been called Akata. Because if you had that level of relations with these cultures, right, they wouldn't call you Akata. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Like that's a false narrative. But to put in perspective, Americans view it all the same way. Jareer, Akata, Igbo, Hausa, Nigerian, Somali, you're just African to us in a lot of cases. You know what I'm saying? I was just having a conversation about the whole FBA tether conversation. And there's a difference between when I go back to Barbados, right? And my grandmother takes me from house to house and says, "This is my grandson from a foreign," right? Being from a foreign, being her Yankee grandson is not the same context as saying tether, akata, right? These are separatist terms. These are terms created to make a clear distinction. He's him, I'm me. We're not the same. So yeah, with that particular term, as much dealings as I've had, one of my best friends on earth, which I always hope never hears me when I go on a Black American rant on this channel, my homeboy Nana, right? He's from Ghana. Like, this isn't even a conversation with us. We're bros. So what I'm saying is, people who do have these interactions with Africans, these aren't our arguments. We aren't the ones saying Akata's being thrown around. What happens is you have Southern blacks who have never met an African in their life. They go on YouTube and they hear these terms. And so now for them, this is what you would call me, even though I've never interacted with you. You would refer to me as an Akata. So I'm going to call
Right.
you a tether.
Right. And
It's
it's
just
stupid
problematic
because
on
these
both
people,
sides. I agree.
it's people that literally don't wait. Like it's a manufactured beef between these two groups and stuff. And yeah, even people like, unfortunately, that's in my own family. They show that same type of like
Your mic, you
ignorance.
sound a bit far away. If you come closer,
Oh,
Hold
I'm
on, but
sorry.
to bro's point though, and I do understand your point, right? Here's the issue. I'm on different African panels, right? Where my bros welcome me in, and sometimes I have to hear y'all argue the difference between Kenya and Nigeria, right? More than the FBA argument. That's out the window. And I see the dynamics between the continent, right? When you I'm trying to figure out a way to put this. Most FBAs aren't in that space at all, right? So they have just a blanket term of Africans that come to the continent. So people will say to me, it's on you to correct the FBAs, right? But the reality is, the only thing that'll correct that is a correction in relations between Africans and Black Americans here in America. I can't correct that. When FBAs say to me, those Africans don't want anything to do with us and they block us out from everything they have, right? Even when I've had a best friend that turned Muslim, right? Have his funeral at an African masjid, right? That doesn't exclude that FBA argument on my side. They'll argue that's your experience, mainly because I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? But my beef with them is I have these interactions, these relations with Africans, right? I build with them on three fundamental levels. I build with them on an economic level. Yeah, I spend money with them. They've spent money with me, right? I deal with them on a social level. When Jerusalem comes on, I am the first one doing the African electric slide, right? And then there's the cultural level as well. But FBAs don't necessarily fall in that category. They're a very frustrated group that is the product of the hopes of Black Americans through Pan Africanism, right? Because you got to realize Pan Africanism took hundreds of years to be created in Black America. The honest realization I've come to as a Pan African in America, right? Descendant of slaves, a fake FBA. I would never claim FBA. But what I'm realizing is a lot of the tribalism brought from the continent to America has created these arguments that has given birth to the sick bastard baby that is FBA. It's literally made us become tribalistic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
what it said. We can't take them all. We can't
Right.
take everybody.
And
I
that's the
mean, but
unfortunate
that's
part.
just natural. It's always going to be social stratifications. The thing is that people that are wise have to get out in front of it before it becomes an issue. And you can't be detracted by people that have nefarious intentions, which that's a main problem in our quote unquote community. We're not, most people aren't able to discern who has nefarious intentions. Anybody that was a self-proclaimed pimp and you're following them, you are a complete idiot. I'll yield
Nah,
with that.
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that. Malcolm X
I mean,
had
Nah, I'm
questionable
talking about a
Psalms in the closet.
self-proclaimed willing pimp. Like,
right.
Oh, you talking
Malcolm X
about
called
Tariq.
himself a pimp.
Yes, FBA is
Well
being
said.
macked.
Well
The
said.
art of macking by Tariq. Yes, I agree. I see where you're going now, right? But my point is this. In this, there's been a lot of changes, right? Africans in America have started to really, really carve out their own place where, as an FBA, as a Black American, you'll see them having their own things, their own businesses, their own that, right? And unfortunately, there's become a clear distinction between the two. Now, I can eat the bushmeat, right, and party the burner boy, right? Like I'm locked in, but that's not the reality, especially regionally, right? One thing I want y'all to know about the FBA, the only people you'll hear making FBA arguments, it's gonna be Southern people. You'll hear it in the accent. They've never met an African. You understand what I'm saying? So me coming from New York, where we have a large African population, these aren't my arguments. But I do understand where my people are coming from when they're responding to, right? Because I'm not just gonna go hard on them. You do have a lot of, in particular, like, I know they hate when I say this, but he looks like a Nigerian, right? Like
Oh,
you have a lot of arguments being made online that are offensive. The lazy Black American and we're better, and this, that, and the third. And what happens is those arguments are assigned across the entire continent. Those are just Africans. This is how they all think. They don't realize that's a Somali. Somalis don't like nobody. They don't even like people on the continent, right? They don't realize a Nigerian's a Nigerian. Like, am I making sense?
No, yeah, yeah, you're making sense. I get it, man. It's just
Yeah.
that to me, it's surprising that somebody will be so ignorant and just group people together and that'll be as far as it goes. You know what I'm saying?
I
They
wouldn't
might consider,
necessarily say that's ignorance though. If we're
well,
but it
dealing
is
with
ignorance. That's
if we're
American
dealing with
culture, though.
peep this,
That's
right?
just
If
American
if you're
culture.
dealing with America as a nation,
mhm.
right? It's a huge nation, right? So when you look at the influence of different groups, immigrant groups that come into America, right? My argument with FBA is the African population is so small, right? That they should never be. If your issue as a Black American is immigration, why would you ever talk about an African? There's 60,000 of them in Houston. There's 80,000 in Minneapolis, right? They don't even have the numbers to make them an issue more than Mexicans or European immigrants, right? I always stress, this is what I stress to my African brothers too when they tell me, oh, the white man just chose me and Black people didn't have nothing to do with it and they allowed me here. No, the honest truth is white America already assigned who was their immigrants. It was the Irish, it was the Italians, and it was the Mexicans, right? The door wasn't really open for you. What happened was through a mindset of Pan Africanism and through this dream that our parents sold us, we believe that if we connect with the continent, we'll all be this one great black race and we'll fight this cracker and we'll beat them up. What we didn't realize was the effects of tribalism on the continent, right? So we didn't even realize the people on the continent aren't thinking that way. They aren't necessarily trying to unify. A Yoruba's over here, a Fulani's over here. Yeah, they may be able to operate in the same space in a Nigerian government, but they're not unified. When Black Americans talk about Pan Africanism, we believed in this kind of global Black unity. And the sad part that we realized from American immigration is when I can look at it deeper, that tribalism means that Senegalese do their thing and Fulani groups, Nigerians, they do their own thing, right? That was a hard pill for Black Americans to swallow on the continent.
I wanted to add about
I'm a new speaker. May I speak, please?
yeah, okay. So it's
I appreciate y'all for letting me get that off, though.
No,
So to
we're fair,
me,
brother.
it's too what's the word for it? It's too made up what you just said. And not totally, but there was no welcoming committee. The whole thing that we voted on having other black folks being able to immigrate into the United States is real. But the majority of us, even now back then, it was more of us who were aware of that. But even then, it was only a group of us that was aware of that action and advocating for that. As time goes on, most African Americans um, don't care one way or the other, and they see someone that looks like them, they're going to be friendly, generally speaking. This is my experience, and I think that you guys might agree with this. We don't wish, in general, we don't wish any negativity on. We see black folks. In fact, we greet them with a smile, and that's pretty much the extent of it. And maybe individually, how can I, if I can help you or just befriend you, right? There's no welcoming committee. There's no uh, community group that's giving them an orientation or seminar and having a party for them as they come over here. That's not what it is.
Right.
So the thing is my issue really is about, and I'm kind of going all over the place a little bit with this part right here, is the identity for us as a people.
Correct.
I think we need to rely more on our academics, our history.
So I'm gonna be honest, right?
Okay, I'm
When I
not finished
when
though.
I
I'm not finished.
my
Not
bad.
finished. So if we are steeped in our education, our history, and everything like that, right? We don't have these questions about what our ethnic diversity is, our cultural diversity, our historical information. We'll be clear about that. It's not. It doesn't become a problem, and that's where in that is your identity and is your confidence and is people's calling me names. I mean, this is silly. Like, they
But
called me
see,
an Akata, and they're coming over here. So to me, when you're educated, you know that people are coming over here. They may know something, they may know very little. They more than likely they're gonna have a colonial education. They're gonna be ignorant about what's happened here, our genesis, and all of that. So you treat them as if, like the brother said, there's going to be somebody in the group that's going to have more information, be wiser, is going to, inform the people or people around them at least. And I'm saying that that's not happening because we have this generational gap going on. We've got a group of young folks who act like they don't know none of this.
now
And the
that's where I
older people,
disagree.
who do know these things, um, are there's distance, and the Black Studies department classes didn't reach them in elementary and high school. We didn't do enough.
But
We
wait,
did
wait,
as much
wait,
as we could.
wait. But I want to respond to that, right? So, for whatever Dr. Clark taught, right, there isn't this generational separation. It's a reality of how this generation views our relationship with Africans, right? So when they look at Africans, they see African businesses, they see African events, right? And they don't see themselves as a part of it, right? So you got to understand, a lot of these babies were raised Pan African, right? But now they're looking and they start to argue that when Africans come over here, they don't care about Baltimore. The reality is Pan Africanism has benefited Soweto more than it will ever benefit the children of Baltimore, right? That's a legitimate argument. It's a
No, they
legitimate
weren't
argument.
raised. They
No,
weren't
it's
raised
really
Pan
not though.
Africanists.
It's
They
not a
weren't.
No,
legitimate
I
argument.
think it is. I think it
It
is.
no, it's when you look at the resource distribution, we have more access to capital. How are you going to ask somebody that doesn't have the access to capital as you do to be able to? I mean, to come over here and help you economically? That's stupid.
No,
Our
Because
people,
nobody
here's
we
the
said
thing.
economically,
Here's the
Flex. He's not
thing.
talking about
That's
economics,
not
bro.
the
He's talking.
conversation, right? Even in
Yeah,
America,
I think
we were always the second class citizens, right? But as second class citizens, we fought to
yeah.
fight apartheid. We fought when
you have
Nelson
access to
Mandela
those
was
$1 trillion.
freed. Hold on, I'm gonna lay in here. When Nelson Mandela was freed, one of the first places he came was to the Bronx, New York, Yankee Stadium, where Black Americans filled up that stadium to hear him speak. Right? We always had an attachment to that, and here's what I want Africans to understand: it was from our limited premise that our salvation, our revolution, and yours as well was tied to us connecting with the continent, right?
Yeah,
2025, now we realize Somalis don't rock with people from Nigeria. People from Nigeria will bomb people from Benin. And AES is getting it from every direction, right? We looked at it as we connect with the continent, we're all one people. We didn't understand the complexities of tribalism on the continent.
That's disingenuous
Can
yeah,
I
that
add
because
it
most
something?
is.
of us
yeah.
did not
I wouldn't say
hold
it's
those views.
tribalism.
We were not Pan Africanists. We were not Afrocentric. Most of us.
Facts, and it's still most of
Pan-Africanism
us
was
still aren't
by
today.
the Caribbean people. So when I
Exactly.
hear that it was Black Americans in the driving seat, that is not true. Historically, the first Pan-African conference was in London. Yeah.
But
And it was all put forward by Black Caribbean men. Black Caribbean men have been at the front of pushing Pan Africanism
Right here in
more than any
America.
Black group on this planet. So please, can you give them the credit where it's due?
But we supported Marcus
You all
Mosiah
supported
Garvey.
on the
Right?
fringes,
Hold
but
on,
you
hear what
weren't
I'm
fully
saying.
on board.
Hear what I'm
It
That's
was
saying.
not
black,
necessarily true.
it
Hear
was
what I'm
yeah,
Black
saying.
nah, but
That's
Caribbean
not
men
this
necessarily
this is
that
true.
about
were
to
Hold on.
devolve
Hear
pushing
what
into
I'm
this
saying.
is
I'm
about
about
to
to say
devolve
this,
into
right?
something that's
For
not to answer what he
years,
was
this
saying though.
fusion wasn't an issue, right? We
No, yeah.
supported Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? We supported a whole tether. We still, many Black Americans
Please stop
worship
using that
him.
term,
Many
brother.
You
Black
cannot
Americans,
call Messiah
hold on.
Garvey a
Many
tether.
Black
That's very
Americans
What
disrespectful.
African
worship him
American?
till this day,
I
right?
love African
That's a
American.
fact, right?
To call Marcus Garvey a tether, that's really
Hold on.
uncomfortable.
So let's go
It
back
wasn't.
before
That's
Marcus
a term
Garvey.
that doesn't apply to him.
My
He didn't come here
argument
to
would be,
benefit from your.
my
But
argument
let
would
me ask
be, right?
Wildflower this though. Let me ask
My
Wildflower
argument
this.
would be that separating from Africa was something that we did a long time ago at a defined moment. For me, it's when we became the Negro problem,
And
right?
when you look
Before,
at
let me
historically,
finish. I'm gonna land. I'm gonna
okay.
keep it short. When we, prior to abolition and prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, right? America understood this was gonna happen. So now they're dealing with the Negro problem. The ACS, the American Colonization Society, they said, all right, we got an idea. Send all these Negroes back, right? Send them all back to Liberia, right? At that point, many Black Americans said, no, we're not going back. We're going to cast our lot here in America. We are our own people. We know where we're from. We're of African descent. But at this point, we become our own tribe. So don't ask me what tribe I'm connected to in Africa. I don't know, right? But I do know at a certain point, when it was offered to go back to Africa, we decided we're staying here, right? Frederick Douglass said something crazy like, I'd rather deal with slavery in America than go back to Africa.
But
Right?
Brother,
later
but
that changed
you
with
know you're
Marcus Garvey
contradicting
movement,
yourself
though.
though, brother. Your
It's not
sentiment
contradiction.
you're contradict. He is, because you just stated that there was this general Pan African ethos, and now you're saying for the majority there wasn't. So that's
Here's
It's
the
contradictory.
at
But
different
difference. Here's
I
the
times.
agree with what
difference.
you're
This is
saying.
A
Here's the
lot of
difference.
people in the States, the
In
Caribbean
our
men had to
African
twist you guys around
descendancy,
to
right?
support Pan
In
Africanism, and you
creating
weren't fully
Let
on
the
ourselves as
board.
sister
being,
talk. Let the
hold
sister
on, real quick.
talk.
And
You said you would
you
land it.
weren't,
Let her
I'm
let
not
the
Willie, you
sister
finish.
talk.
surprised
No,
that
Let
I
the
let
didn't
black
let him
land.
finish
American
real
I
group
didn't
quick, and
land.
that
then
is
Let him
What
already
I'm
go,
But
saying
you
Willie.
said
is,
you
segregated,
were landing
in
you're
too. Come
not
being the
on.
hearing
descendants
black
of
Caribbean
Africans, we
talking
were
like that.
never
Bro.
anti-African,
Let the
Black
right?
sister say
Caribbeans
her
are not
thing.
saying they want to separate from Africa. And it's the black Americans who are never fully on board. They had to be sold harder, Africa. And they're the
that's
ones that
not
already want
true,
to jump
sister.
ship.
Thank
They're like,
you.
oh,
That's
we're
That's
not
not
not true,
true.
African.
sister.
We're
That's not
Native
true.
Indians, we're this and that. And black Caribbeans have always been the ones in the driving seat of bringing black people together.
The
And they're not the
UNIA,
ones saying, let's delineate, we're not African, we're Native American. They're not saying that.
but
And this is
listen,
why when
that's
people,
what you're
when
No, but
black
doing in your
Wildflower.
Americans try to
statement.
take
Wildflower.
credit for Pan
Watch this, watch
Africanism,
this,
I have
watch
to
this.
no,
push
that
back.
that's not.
Sure, I
He's
got
Because
it.
not doing that. That's
Wildfire.
not what he's
so the
doing.
people in the
Wildfire. That's
Caribbean
what
were
you're
the ones
doing
that were
in your
pushing
statement.
this ideology.
Yeah,
You're
that.
creating a delineation in your statement.
Nah, Willie,
What I'm
hold
telling you
on.
is,
No, yeah,
when
that's a
that
reach. You
Jamaican
reaching now.
came
You're
over,
reaching.
hold on. When that
Yeah,
Jamaican came
bro. Come
over
on.
to
Give him the
America,
mic,
right?
man. Let somebody else speak. You
All right, I'm
you
gonna keep
keep
Willie, you
short.
landing.
talking
I'm gonna
too
keep it
much,
short.
bro. We
I'm
You
gonna
got your
keep
keep
it
point
saying
short.
that.
already,
You keep
dude.
saying
We
I'm a
got your point,
land
man.
3 different
No, no,
times.
no.
But I'm
We
being
got
cut
we
off
got your
though.
point.
You
Let me ask
interrupted my
Wildflower this.
submission several times. I never did really
But I'm
finish, but
being cut
I
off.
acquiesced to you so that you could interject. And then the
Right. I was
sister's
trying to
talking,
finish,
you
but I got cut
interject what
off
she's saying. You are talking over her or under her.
Right.
So I'm
because
just
I was
saying,
cut
Wild.
off.
I
Let me
understand.
ask
No, I'm just
Wildflower
saying though,
this though.
you talking a
I just
lot, and
want to
that's
land
okay.
here, right? I just want to
Nah,
respond to
You
Willie,
one
you
keep
thing
just
she
talking
saying
too
you're
said.
much,
just
bro.
gonna
Let me ask
land,
Wildflower
and
I
something
you
just
though.
want
start
to
up
respond to
another.
one thing she said, right?
Wildflower.
When
So you
that
said that there was
Jamaican
these
came to
Caribbeans in the
America,
com.
right? It was never anti-African. It was never
Okay.
anti-Jamaican, right? We were literally willing to work with those people of the Caribbean, right? So when she says that Caribbean people led the charge, I'm saying don't leave the support of my people out. When you deal with Marcus Garvey, you're dealing with a bunch of American Negroes supporting the idea of a Jamaican, right? There was a connection there. There wasn't this
They weren't
delineation.
supporting the ideal of a Jamaican. They were supporting an idea
Pan Africanism.
Pan Africanism,
Whether
not
Right.
a
what
Jamaican. So when you
But let me
say
so
ask
that,
let's say
Wildflower.
both are right.
it's
So
very
let's say
Let
jaded.
me
both are
ask.
right. Let's
It's
say both are
jaded
right.
It's not
because
Nah,
you're
jaded.
but
putting an
that's
Hold
what
on,
emphasis
don't take
anybody.
away from my point. Hold on.
on
Let's say
him
both are right,
instead of
right?
the
What I'm making
ideology
clear
that he
is
was espousing.
what I'm making clear is when you say that all these movements were created by Caribbean men outside
That's
of
not what
Black
she said
America,
either, bro.
that
You
is what
doing
that's
look, Willie, you
exactly
talking
what
too
she
much.
said.
Let me
That's
ask her so
exactly
we can
what
get
she said.
clarity.
Nah, she
Say what
said
you
that
said
Pan
again,
Africanism was pushed
Wildfire.
more by
Say
Caribbean
what you
men.
said again,
Thank
Wildfire.
you. Thank you,
Exactly.
Elvis.
I said
But
that black
Wildflower, let
Caribbean
me
men
ask you this.
have
Hold
been
on.
in the
Let us
driving force of the Pan African movement. They've had to sell it to
Exactly.
Black Americans. And Black Americans are now the first one to say, we started Pan Africanism. It doesn't
right,
work in Africa. We're delineating. I don't hear that same
right.
attitude
I
from the
don't
I
I
Caribbean
don't know
got
people.
But
you.
that.
it's not
Now
what.
here's my
I don't
point
know
though.
that
Here's
It
history.
my
means
But
that,
point.
Wildflower,
Yeah, that's
Even
not
if you're
when
true.
talking
Garvey
about
came to
those
sell you
West
guys the idea,
Indian men,
you
That's not
even if
supported
you're
it.
dealing
true.
with
You
Marcus
supported, but
Garvey,
Yeah,
you're not
he
fully in.
that
came
You've
don't
to
got
sound
one
right to
leg,
me.
America
one
and
leg out, one
created the
leg in, one leg
UNIA.
out,
He was
one leg in,
supported
one
by
leg
Black Americans. There wasn't this separation that you claim it was. Even if you're claiming that West
bro.
Indian men pushed this charge, guess what? There is no UNIA without the Black American Negro who was willing to work with Marcus Garvey. It didn't have to
So
be
let me
sold.
let me ask
It
Wildfire
didn't
Hey,
a
have
And
to
the
be
question.
Pan
but
sold.
African Congress
Damn.
included
W. Du
African
Bois,
Americans too. The
W.
first
Du
Pan
Bois
African
went to
Congress.
Liberia and sabotaged him. That
Yes,
was a
he
black
did.
American man
Yes,
who
he
was
did.
working against
Yes.
Garvey.
he's a CONN. I
So
mean a
wait, I
COON.
wouldn't consider WEB a Pan African, and I
Yeah,
would end that by saying a coon's a coon's a coon, right?
fact.
A coon is a coon, right? So the reality is, when you look at the movement that Garvey was able to create, when you look at what Trinidadian, right? Immigrant into America, Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, right? This was supported by Black Americans. There wasn't this division. It didn't have to be sold. There was a time when we worked in tandem.
Where's
Stop
the
me when
brother
I'm lying.
from
Willie,
Dominica?
you sounded more and more like
There's a
FBA the
brother
more
from
you talk.
Dominica.
No,
Yeah,
but
I
no,
wish he
he's
would
not
stop,
because
bro.
Sorry,
what the
buddy, I
sister
can't hear you.
what the sister said was really in essence a tactic that FBA used. Anybody that's a
Well,
real
let me
Thank
Pan
you.
ask her.
African, these borders don't matter. Like these
Thank you.
nationality distinctions don't matter. So any American that's a Pan African is not finna be sold no Pan African
Thank you.
ideology. It
Well
happened.
said.
Let me ask
These
her this
ideas are
question for
formulated
follow up.
organically. They don't have to be sold
You
anywhere.
don't have to sell it to me. I
Yeah,
am Pan African. I am
majority of the people,
UNIA.
the same demographic that you're going to have in the United States that is counterproductive is the same demographic you're going to have in Jamaica. It's the
Correct.
same demographic you have in Barbados. The people that are
Well
coons
said,
are going
my
to be
brother.
coons wherever they at. It's not that you got to
Well
No,
be
but
said,
hold
sold no
on.
my
No,
specific
brother.
hold on
area.
though, because
You get it.
the point that
You
she
get
brought
my
up that I
point.
thought was a
Well
good point
said.
was she gave a specific example. That's why I give her credit, bro. She didn't just
What
say
example?
Black Americans. She gave the examples of specific. I don't know, and y'all can correct me
She
if I'm
didn't. I
wrong. A
did.
specific. Willie. Let me. There's specific
Bad.
examples she gave
Let
of
him
people that
finish.
were. Yeah.
But she didn't
Okay.
give a
Go
specific
ahead, let him
example.
I
finish.
understand.
Willie, you
Goddamn.
gotta
He
pass
trying
the
to get
mic,
it
Willie. You
out. Let
gotta
him
let him speak,
finish.
bro.
Jesus
All right, my
Louise.
fault. My fault.
Oh
She
my
gave
God.
specific examples of Tethers, which is a group, whether we like it or not, that is an FBA group from America that speaks of delineation. She said that, as far as what I've heard, there's no Caribbeans that are doing that. They don't have nicknames for people who are, you know what I mean, that are different. They don't have counter movements
Correct.
to Pan Africanism. That's something that is
Well, they
happening here.
do.
We got to admit.
No,
Name
but
it.
again,
Name them.
they're not Pan
Well,
Africanists,
Name
so
wait.
them.
they
Take
would
it
be
Go.
slow.
considered as coons. So I mean,
All
Uh,
right.
That's people who
So
are
anyway, my
not
question to Wildflower.
Hold
Now
informed.
that I
on, real
got the
quick.
floor,
Let's
Right.
take it slow.
now
Let's
that
take it
now that I
slow.
got the floor,
When
Wildflower,
I
I
go
wanted
back
you to
to
tell me
Barbados,
specific.
Yeah,
right? My
every
grandmother
time,
Willie,
pulled
cut
Wait.
it,
me
every
bro.
from
time
out
I
Willie,
the
do,
cut it.
house.
every
Oh man,
Hold
Jesus!
on. When I go back to
Can the guy fit? Willie, can he finish? Jesus!
Willie, you gotta chill, bro. For real. Like,
can I say
chill.
something?
You can't be drinking at noon and
But
shit, bro.
wait,
You need
that's
to
funny
chill.
because what happens is we
But
run stop signs.
Wildflower,
Can I
I
say
wanted to know
something quickly?
specifically
We
I
where
run
want
the
stop
someone
names
else.
signs, and
were.
I'm
Somebody's on the
30. I'm
floor. Let him finish
right,
first.
Wildflower, can you tell me the specific names of the
right.
people that are forgotten that you were mentioning from the Caribbeans that were the faces of Pan Africanism?
Thank you. So
There's
she
a guy
didn't give
called
it. I did.
Sylvester Williams, who's the one that organized the first Pan African conference in London, in Westminster, in the 1900s.
Right.
Okay.
With along with the brother, I just saw a documentary on this young lady who was doing her ancestry and peoples from Dominica and Antigua, and she found out that her great grandfather was part of the organizing. He was a professor. He was a medical doctor or something, and he was part of the first Pan African Congress.
Um,
And she
yeah.
did a whole
Oh,
thing on him. And his name, I had never heard his name before.
Sylvester
What's his
Williams.
name?
Yeah.
I'll let you see the pictures. You can Google them. And these
PLR
are,
James.
yeah, exactly. CLR James.
Um,
We have a library named after him where I live.
and then
A lot of when when I started looking into Pan Africanism as a young black woman, I found a lot of Caribbean men writing books, really,
Absolutely.
writing excellent books for us to use in our liberation. And I'm not saying that Black Americans didn't contribute, but I feel like sometimes when I'm online and I'm seeing videos after videos on YouTube of FBA people,
Right.
even some of them that are not claiming to be FBA, but Black American, they'll say Pan Africanism is a failure. I mean, they're on TikTok getting hundreds of thousands of likes from white
Right.
supremacists. And these are not Caribbean with a thick accent. These are Black Americans that say we're indigenous, we
Correct.
fought in the American army. Pan Africanism is akin to white supremacy. All of this message that's against Pan
Correct.
Africanism is being pushed not by the Caribbeans.
But that's not my
Right,
point. But that's hold on real quick.
and
That's not my point. What I'm making, the point I'm making is the
let
argument
FBA
that
tell
you
it.
make is the reason why FBAs do what they do. What I'm saying is, right, even in the construct of those Caribbean men that push these movements, 9 times out of 10, I'll stand on that, right? You have the UNIA here in America, led by a Jamaican, followed by a bunch of Black Americans. You have SNCC, right, with Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, a Trinidadian, right, supported by a bunch of Black Americans, right? What I want you to understand is this whole
But, but
delineation,
then you
hold
can
on,
see
I'll land here,
Uh,
and I'll land here,
Well,
right?
what's your point, Willie?
Yeah, what
I'll
is your
land here.
What's
point?
your
I'll
point?
land here, right? This delineation conversation is a very new conversation. And there is some credence to it because of the relations between Africans and Black Americans here, right? Like when Africans come here. This is a new construct, right? None of this applies to our history. When you look at Black American history, it was more aligned with Pan-Africanism than it will ever be aligned with FBA. That's a fact.
That's
When you
true.
Okay.
talk when you talk
Okay.
about the creation of Liberia, this was a bunch of Black Americans going back to the continent trying to connect with something. We've always had that
but
Mm,
connection.
that was a
Okay.
colonial
yeah,
I'm
project.
just saying
yeah,
this
I
is a
can't. That's
new
Okay.
not a good
problem.
example, brother. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie to
And
you.
That,
okay.
that is not a good example.
Right.
But
If you
you
read
what you saying is correct, but that's
FBA
not a good
though,
Hey, can
example.
I can
FBA
I
is the
interject?
leader
I'm
of
not
Black
gonna be
folks
long.
globally.
Can I
Go
interject?
ahead.
I'm not gonna be long, guys. First I just gotta say that the FBA culture is completely self-hating, self-defeating, and
I
completely
agree.
contrary to any type of progress.
I
As a
agree.
matter of fact, there is no such thing as FBA culture. FBA culture is homosexual. It's
Right.
it's 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 interracial, right? It's killing each other. You know what I'm saying? So like you can't tell me now. You can't tell me what one benefit that you get from FBA,
I would
right?
say leave
Oh,
out the
hold on, brother.
homosexual,
Let me finish.
but the
The
interracial
entire hold
part is
on. Let me
valid.
finish, brother. I'm not done. You just got through
My
talking all
bad.
that
My
bullshit.
bad. Now I'm with you. I
All right.
agree.
So the whole FBA culture is completely destructive, right? Like
Correct.
FBAs, what do? They practice in interracial relationships, right?
I agree.
You know, what do FBA dudes? What does FBA do? They rap about killing and murdering each other. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So it's
not true.
completely self-hatred and self-defeating. And as a matter of fact, FBA, Foundational Black American. I think one of the hallmarks of Malcolm X, even when you watch the movie, but you know, even in like if you understand Malcolm X's philosophy and a lot of the things that he lived by, was the word black itself. The word
Right.
black is used to erase. It's used to redact something. It's used to blot something out. So even calling yourself a foundational Black American in progressive, it doesn't even make sense because it separates you from your African heritage. And I emphasize the word heritage, not history, which is why the word her is in the word heritage, because it relates to your mother. So
Now,
we need to realize that they're trying to delineate from from your mother. It gives you absolutely no benefit at all. You can't identify one benefit whatsoever
I
from
agree.
that you get from delineating from Africans as a whole, which
I
is
agree.
why the whole movement is suspect. The movement is suspect because you can't identify any benefit from
I
it.
agree
The same way,
100%.
the same way homosexuality is suspect. You can't identify any type of benefit from it.
I agree.
Put a bunch of homosexuals on an island and tell me what benefit you get from it. In a
So
couple of years,
So
it won't
so
be
so
anybody
let me
on the
make a
damn
real
island.
quick
what
point. Let me
about
make a real
FBA
quick
is
point. I'm gonna be in
homosexual
and out,
though?
right?
And I
What
agree
do you
with
mean? What
everything.
about
Nah, it's
FBA is
the
Here's
homosexual,
culture. The
bro?
my
Right.
culture.
here's
I
Are
never
my
knew
you
it to
argument,
be a
serious?
right?
homosexual cult.
Man, bro,
Hold on. Here's my argument, right?
hold on, bro.
Up until now, up
Hold
until
on, let me finish, bro.
5.
2025.
Brother, you
Bro.
gotta let him talk,
I
brother. Come
Yeah,
agree.
you
on
gotta
now.
let me
You've
talk,
been
bro. God,
speaking.
you keep
All right, go
interrupting with
ahead.
it, and that's
My
something else
fault.
the
My
FBA
fault.
does, right?
My fault.
Let the
FBA,
man talk.
hold on, bro. Anytime we get into the African or the Pan-African dialectic, the whole job of the FBA is to divert the dialectic.
I
Or in
agree.
other words, to divert the dialogue of Pan-Africanism, which
I
is what
agree.
the objective of any type of COINTEL covert program is.
I
The
agree.
Hebrew Israelites, it diverts the Pan-African dialectic. Nation of Islam, even though I support Nation of Islam in many ways, but it still diverts the
I agree.
Pan-African intellectic. FBA diverts the Morris scientific. It diverts the Pan-African dialectic. So it's all a bunch of bull crap. And I
I
will emphasize And it's the last thing I'm gonna say, guys. And the reason that I mentioned the interracial relationships, and I don't think we talk about this enough, right? And because to be the mothers and fathers of civilization comes with some obligations, right?
Right.
It comes with obligations. Anytime Africans call themselves the mothers and fathers of civilization, you know what that means? That means that you shouldn't date anybody else that in your race because that's genetic incest, right?
Fact.
So because you're the mothers and fathers of
Why would that
civilization,
mean that?
having sex with a white woman, having sex with a Chinese person, having sex with anybody else other than black is genetic incest, and that's FBA culture. When you look at FBAs, they negate having a black or black husband or wife, and they're going straight for the damn white people. They're trying to delineate not just from Africans, they want to blend in with everyone else except for themselves. So that's
But let
all I'm gonna
me
say, guys. You guys have a nice night.
stay with us.
Teach,
Stay with
brother.
us.
Facts,
Teach,
I'm
brother.
gonna
brother.
say something very humbly, right?
Yo,
One of the
we need
things.
the
Hold on,
bomb
and I'm
after
gonna
that.
be quick. I'm gonna be quick, right? Humbly,
Hey
right?
guys, we're
My
closing out soon. I gotta pass it to Supreme to Tether Supreme Allah. Go ahead, Tether Supreme Allah. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, give thanks. Give thanks for the invite. Yeah, but listen, I just want to put some historical context on the discussion because it negates black mobility, transnational mobility. There's an Atlantic framework that FBA totally ignores.
correct.
They they ignore the histories of movement of black peoples during slavery, after slavery, and
Correct.
they assume that their so-called lineage is static and monocultural when
Correct.
black America has never been that. Just
Correct.
because histories aren't fully complete and fleshed out doesn't mean that, let's say, a random black sugarcane laborer from Barbados didn't come in and out of the United States in the 1800s. That kind of work is being done, and
That's
more
my
is to
family.
come. Black people are dynamic. We move just like the Exodusters move out of the South and got to Oklahoma and set up them black homesteads. Blacks from the Caribbean went to Panama, went into Guatemala, went to other islands looking for work and jobs, and
Correct.
entered into the United States. By 1920, one out of every four New Yorkers, black New Yorkers, was of Caribbean ancestry, either first or second generation. And it was in that nexus of black cultural Pan-Africanism, you might call it, that the long roots of your civil rights movement were born. You see what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you 100%.
So then what's the point of FBA?
Here's the point I'm
There is no
making,
point.
right? And this is the first thing I want you to understand. I am in no way defending FBA. I think, and it's gonna sound crazy, FBA is the bastard baby, right, of African tribalism. And what I mean by that is most Black Americans that dealt with Pan Africanism viewed it from a lens of we're going to connect with the continent and we're all going to be one. I don't think Black Americans even understood the effects of tribalism in Nigeria alone, right? Just take one nation, right? I think that was a sobering pill that we had to swallow. We had to understand that this view of connecting all Black people wasn't even a reality on the continent, right? So now dealing with it here, right? The influence is now we have to see the tribalism here, right? Senegalese might not even rock with the Nigerians like that. None of them rock with Black Americans, right? So what I'm saying
But
is,
Black
what I'm
America is
hold on,
not
and I'm gonna land here,
united
and I'm gonna
either as
land
a
here, and I'm
group
gonna
in the
land here,
country.
and I'm gonna land here.
Was
FBA, FBA is the bastard baby, right, of African tribalism that was brought over to America.
Hey, I
And
want to
that's
say something.
and that's something I don't think people are willing to deal with. It's the realization that the beliefs that we had of all being one and uniting were never a real thing. They weren't even a real
but
thing on the
Yeah, we've
continent.
heard you. We've
Yeah,
heard
but
you on that
that's
point.
too general of an assessment. That could be the case for some people, and it
Let
is,
the
I could
but
woman
go
speak. Let
further, but
Mika
why
speak.
fight?
She been wanting to speak.
Guys, let me pass it to Mika. Then we got to close out. Go ahead, Mika.
Okay. Yeah, I just think for me it's ironic to hear when Pan-Africanists talk about how Africa is so tribalistic, there are all these tribes and clans and all that. Because one of the things you have to look at is that polygamy is what births clans and then tribes. When you've got a man having 4 wives all those wives have their kids, then their grandkids, it becomes a clan, which then becomes a tribe, which then becomes an ethnic group. So some of those social problems that you're analyzing for Africa are rooted in the same cultures that you're promoting, some of the cultural vices that you're promoting: polygamy, child marriage, incest, some of those things. So you have to look at it objectively. And it sounds to me like, from the Black American perspective, what I'm hearing, I don't know if it's Willie or who are saying that, is that Black Americans came to a realization that their conception of Pan-Africanism wasn't actually realistic.
Correct.
It sounds to me like that's what it came to, because you're kind of projecting this thing on Africa that's not actually real for our reality.
Correct.
And a lot of the things that we're dealing with are some of these cultures that you keep saying, it's our culture, it's our history, it's our ancestry. But those are the things that we've deviated from or delineated from ourselves, like religion, like traditions, like cultures. All that stuff is not always positive. I don't care how Pan-Africanists want to frame it. Slavery
Right.
happened because you had
SU is
elites.
not Satan.
Wait, you had
Let me
No,
elites.
she
finish.
getting
You
to my
had
point. Go ahead, sis.
look, slavery, you had elites, Vodun practicing elites in West Africa. They were not Christians that sold other people. Okay. You had
But
black
we
Muslims
African presidents
collaborating.
that are selling
Excuse me,
people now,
excuse me,
are selling our
excuse me.
resources.
Let
Let
me
her
say what I
speak.
have to
Stop
say.
Hold on, let
interrupting
her
her.
speak.
Yeah,
Let her
don't
Excuse me,
finish.
interrupt her.
thank
Let
you.
her
Yeah,
finish.
let her get the
Let her
nonsense off,
finish.
Yeah,
Go
please.
she's
ahead,
spitting, she's
sis.
Okay.
spitting facts. Y'all
Yes.
need to learn and listen.
Go
Let me
ahead,
say what
sis.
I have to say. You had black Muslims that were collaborating with Arabs. Most of the time, it's like, oh, black people sold other black people. Black Muslims who are looking at other Africans as infidels.
Play
So there are all
rounds.
these different dynamics that you have to look at. And the voodoo practitioners were selling their own subjects, the elites, to the Portuguese or whoever it was, because, oh, it's another tribe. And those tribes historically are blood related because of through polygamy. So there are all these dynamics which are promoting and advocating at the same time, critiquing Africa for the same things that you promote. So that's why I see the hypocrisy there with like the Pan-African movement. That's just what I want to say.
You didn't mention none of the people that were converted to Christianity in the Congo still doing
Bro,
raids.
she's right,
Nah,
bro. She's right.
I'm not saying she isn't, but
Christianity is not the
I'm
problem.
not
It's
saying she
not
isn't. I'm
removing
not
the
saying
Israel.
she isn't correct.
And
But I'm not saying
You
she
can
isn't
talk
correct.
about
But
Christians all you want,
she omitted
but the
she
people
omitted
that
the
sold
first quote.
people into
Hold on,
slavery were Muslims predominantly and
There are Christians all over Africa selling our resources to the white.
one mic.
One mic.
Yeah, we gotta go one mic.
She
I'd like a chance to
one
respond to the sister. Because
one mic. No, but you are right. She completely omitted King Alfonso, who sold out to the Portuguese and converted to Christianity and justified the slave trade
I don't think
in the
she admitted
Congo.
that.
Nah, she did omit it. It ain't no thing she did. That's what that's be my problem with y'all be having agendas, bro. Y'all
I
don't be
don't think you
objective, and that
understand
be
her
my
point.
problem.
I don't
listen,
think
what
you
the
She
sister
understand
may
her
did
not have
was
point.
known about
provide
it.
a good historical pretext for the slave.
She brought up Islam, she brought up voodoo, but completely omitted King Alfonso.
And then she brought up
What
incest.
did no?
She brought up incest and child marriage, like people
What if she didn't know about
champion
Hold on,
that.
voodoo?
Like
let the
that's
sister
crazy.
talk. Let the sister
What if
respond.
she didn't know
Y'all
about that
just hate us
history?
Christians, man.
Let her
Y'all some haters,
respond.
We
man.
don't hate Chris. I'm
Look,
just saying.
I like a
Let
chance to
her
respond to the
respond.
sister.
Pope
Oh
Nicholas is
man,
that
one
top
mic.
of
All I'm saying is
slavery. How about
keep it
that? Huh?
balanced.
How about
All I'm
that?
saying is,
And the sheep
all I'm saying is keep it balanced. That's all I'm saying. Is
Facts.
keep it balanced. Like she completely omitted King Alfonso. Mika, you
Look,
want to
the
respond to that?
difference
Voodoo
is, Dinus,
practitioners that
there
sold
wasn't
slaves.
Christians.
Oh no, Mika,
the
go ahead,
chiefs
Mika.
that
Dinus,
You
were taking
respond to
our
that?
people
wait,
were called
I've got a
Jesus.
question
How
for
about
you,
that?
Dinus. Do you
The
ever bring
chiefs that
up,
were taking our people were called Jesus. How about that?
you've got
That's
your
not
own
true. There were
projections and
Muslim
biases.
imams selling other
The
Africans. There wasn't
majority of
Christians
people
on the
still
continent selling
practicing
other
slavery
Africans.
Man, the
today are
papal
black
bulls,
King
Muslims.
the papal
Alfonso.
bulls
They're black
sanction
Muslims. I'm
European.
sorry. I'm sorry. The people practicing slavery today,
No,
majority,
no,
predominantly,
it was the
And see now,
Mauritania,
now
Libya, Saudi
you're moving
Arabia, the
now you're
Gulf
moving the
states,
goalposts. You're moving the
Somalia.
goalposts.
That's where
Are
Everybody
slavery is
wants
Muslims
happening
too.
Congo.
right now.
She's right.
Nicholas authorized
I'm
slavery.
He's
sorry. You can
right.
talk about, you're
Diane,
projecting
And
the
this is
let
something
American
Africans don't
context
want to talk
onto the
about, but
rest of the
he is
world.
right.
Yeah. Christians nation in
He's
Africa are not practicing
100% right.
slavery. It's usually
No,
the
they're
Muslim
not.
nation that's
They are
They
practicing.
not
don't gotta
practicing
practice
slavery. I'm
slavery.
sorry. You're not being objective. So I'm
So
bringing up
the
the
No,
the
morality
we
of
are
narrative
the
that
being
you're not
religions is
bringing
not the
objective.
same,
forward.
bro.
We're
So
not saying
Dinus,
we're not
you're
saying
not
you're
being up
incorrect
because when you talk
about
about
that.
slavery, you talk about Christians. Do you ever talk about the Vodun practicing
No, no,
elites
no, no.
Oh
of the
man,
kings of
goodness,
Benin? Do you
By
talk about
goodness.
Oba Ozalua?
me.
Ozulua? Do you talk about
Pope,
Oba Ozulua? No,
your
you don't.
Pope
Do you talk about
authorized
Tipu
So
Tip
what's
in
your point?
Tanzania?
People
Tipu
see,
Tip
yeah,
was a
people see.
Muslim. You
What's
talk
your
about
point?
him.
Who was
Can
king
you
of
Both lie.
reiterate
Fonzo?
your
You need
point
to keep
again?
quiet and
The
stop talking
Grand
over me.
Honan
Stop talking
of
over me.
Benin, he
Can
was
she
selling
make her point
slaves.
before
Authorized
Adonis closes
slave
the
trade.
room?
All the kings of Benin were selling slaves. They were
Authorized
practicing
slave trade. Because
vodun,
So what's your
practicing
point
Ifa.
again?
They were not Christians.
Your
So I'm
Christians
saying
are
you need to
not
be
body.
the
objective. You're
Christians
being
didn't bring
hypocritical.
evenness to
When you talk about
Africa. It's the
tribalism,
Muslims that
it's
did it.
tied to polygamy. Tribalism is tied to polygamy. That's
Okay.
what creates tribes.
So what's your point with
Generational
relations
polygamy
to
creates tribes.
Pan-Africanism? What is your
Stop
point
talking.
with relation to Pan-Africanism
Yeah,
again?
but,
What's
I'm
your
but
point?
saying
Man,
Portuguese
you
she's
need
is
to
a
there.
she's a
separate
she's a
vodun.
Hold on,
Christian
let her talk,
evangelist.
Oh my
Unique.
God.
Let her talk.
I'm
This is
saying you.
madness.
Oh
She's
my
already
God.
talked.
Jesus
Now she's got to
Christ.
hear the
Let her
responses to what
talk.
she said.
You can't
She's
let me
already made her
clarify my
point.
point.
Wow,
Just
Can we get a
Fowler.
Yeah,
response?
Why
she's
y'all
already
so
made her
so
point.
y'all,
She
Yeah,
y'all
can't
so
let
rebuttal
her
twisted
it.
up in a
respond to
bunch,
her
man?
Let her
point.
Let the woman
I'm
speak.
respond.
trying
Nah,
to
bro,
wait
when
and
you Christian
respond.
apologies, stop, bro. Let dude talk.
Let
She
Let him
her
already
respond.
made her point.
respond
Let's
to the
respond to it
question.
one
I
by
listened
one
to
by
you people
one.
for like an hour. I
But
listened to
Nick,
all of you for like
hold
an
on,
hour.
Nick,
Okay, I just got on here. I just got on here.
New and void.
continue to ignore King Alfonso in the Congo.
That's
Why?
That
one
is very
person,
correct.
Dynasty.
Well, the thing is,
Now she did
that's
a good
literally
job
Let
of
her
pointing
that's
to
respond.
literally. Oh
Let
precursors
her
my
to
God!
the
respond.
Stop talking over me. That's who literally initiated and kicked off the slave trade in Africa. When
No,
King
in the
Alfonso
Congo.
let the Portuguese in and converted to Christianity.
to the
Right.
European slave trade, but there was a pre-existing
There was
Indian
a
Ocean
there
trade.
was a slave
Right,
trade
right, right.
before that.
Okay, well,
Correct.
right. There was the Arab slave trade. Correct.
Correct.
We're talking about
Right,
the
the Atlantic slave trade. I get you,
Atlantic
but
slave
listen, the
trade. Right.
sister pointed to some good precursors to the Atlantic slavery system. So that is great,
Correct.
right? But what she misses is that Pan Africanism is and has always been a work in progress. There have
Correct.
been Pan African conferences, plural, where the attendees wrestled with the very same points and questions that she brought up.
I would agree
Pan
with that.
Africanism isn't a one set playbook that never changes, that is static. Pan Africanism is a working project to bring Black people together to counter our collective disenfranchisement. And that means that work is yet to be done. We
Now,
speak about these things as if they are static and can't be changed. So
right.
thank you, sister, for pointing out some of those problems, right? You didn't have the totality of all the problems, but you pointed out some good
Right.
points. But
Right.
nothing you said isn't or hasn't been discussed as
Is
something that
invalid.
has to be dealt with.
Correct.
All right,
Now,
guys, we're gonna
the
go ahead and
only
close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror
I'll be
search
back
for
tomorrow.
Guru. Peace.
Danful offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danful, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.